And it should go live. No. Okay, and we're live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Coffee Talk series. My name is Madison. I'm the marketing coordinator here at the Business Software Center. And today I have two great people with me. I have Phil Hames, who's the director of the Business Software Center, and I have Chip Reaves, who's going to go into a bit more detail about the e-learning with Bigger Brains. So Phil, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, so the first thing I just mentioned is that I think, Madison, you've turned on the Q&A. So if people have got any questions for either myself or for Chip, then just put that in the chat box and Madison will pick those up as we go through or at the end. So the first thing I was just going to say is just to set the scene and to how we at TBSC link in with SmarterSaaS 365 into online training. I think many of you, if you've already seen our technology, you're familiar with some of the things like, for instance, this screenshot is from Teams, and it shows red areas where people are not using particular facilities in Teams, and the green or the turquoise shows where people are active on certain facilities. And it's a fairly simple process to just click and pull out details of all of the users who are not using particular capabilities or apps within 365, and then to be able to take those email addresses and prepare an email distribution and send it out to the link out to those particular individuals. And then what you're able to see is as they start taking the courses, then you're able to see usage improvements and people getting more value out of the apps that they've got within their 365 subscriptions. So the things fit really nicely with e-learning distribution models, and we're making that even simpler with our portal. So I think if you're already familiar with our technology, you'll know that you can just click and you can see reports about your efficiency of usage of 365. And we also have other services like Adobe, but one of the additional added in facilities is going to be the links through for the deployment of the Bigger Brains training courses. So putting things into an easy to manage situation, and of course if you're one of our partners, you can brand up the portal, put your own colors in and put your own logos in. So you're making it easy to distribute and look after particular individuals and users so that they can get the best out of 365. So what I'm going to do now is hand over to Chip and let Chip start sharing his slides.
Great, thanks, Phil. Let me see if I can make that work. All right, did the slides show up? I'm hoping. Okay, good.
Yep, you're good to go.
Cool. So yeah, they've changed teams around and the presenter deck is a little bit different now, so I'm trying to see. Interesting. I'm not seeing PowerPoint here. You guys are seeing my first slide, I guess?
Yep.
I am not, which makes it interesting. Do you see my second slide now?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So maybe I'm sharing the wrong thing. I'm sharing the wrong thing. Oh, they don't give me an option to, okay. Sorry, we'll try that again.
That's
okay.
Not a problem.
So
okay, should be good to go.
You know, I teach our Microsoft Teams course. I really ought to know it better than this, but part of the reason we're actually waiting until after May to update our Microsoft Teams course is Microsoft is rolling out so many new features into Teams in April and May, and so every day it's something new. But yeah, no, I appreciate the chance to speak to everybody. My name is Chip Reaves. I've got a long background in the IT consulting world, really from '89 until 2018. I was some variation on an IT consultant or a VAR or an MSP. And the impetus for Bigger Brains really came from that period. For the last 13 years before I started Bigger Brains, I was the CEO of Computer Troubleshooters. We were a worldwide computer service franchise. And one of the services that we recognized that we were not offering to our customers was training. And it was probably the biggest thing that we were missing at that time. You know, we had all the network solutions and virus solutions and cybersecurity and all that. But we realized the biggest thing we could do to help our customers be more productive was to help them learn how to use the tools they already had. And this was nothing particularly new. We'd been, doing this to some degree for a long time. I remember back in the 1990s when I kind of first had a really good example of how important training is. I was a IT consultant back then. I had an engineering firm who was a client of mine, and they had one person in the firm. They had a bunch of engineers, they had a bunch of architects, and they had one person who was the Microsoft Office expert. And she was the one that would type up all the proposals and write up the customer invoices and send all the correspondence. And she was good at her job. Everybody thought she did a fantastic job, and she kept everything organized and running straight. And there came a time when she went on vacation, and they realized they needed to change a proposal that she had done right before she left, and they couldn't find where the proposal spreadsheet was stored. And so they asked me to come in and help find the spreadsheet. So I came in and did some investigating, and I could only find one proposal spreadsheet. Now, she makes several proposals a week. I could only find one. And after talking with her and kind of confirming what I suspected, there were some big gaps in her understanding of Microsoft Excel. She did not know that you could have multiple spreadsheets. So every time she typed up a new proposal, she typed it over the same one. She also, and I figured this out when I started changing the proposal and the total at the bottom wasn't changing, she did not know that Microsoft Excel could add things up for you. And so she would type up these proposals with all of the numbers, and then she had a desktop calculator and she would add up the numbers and she would type in the total. Now, if you've ever used Microsoft Excel, you know that's pretty much the core of what it does is work with numbers. But here was somebody who was good at her job, she had the right tools, and she was getting the job done. But looking back on it, she must have been working so much harder than she needed to and working really inefficiently because she had this skills gap. And she didn't even know it at the time, but she was missing out on all of these features that would have made her life so much better and would have made her so much more productive at her job. Fast forward 20 years, and I think with Microsoft 365, it's an even bigger opportunity to close that skills gap because we see so many companies who have migrated to Microsoft 365 for the email platform or for the software licensing. And the fact that there's all these extra pieces in there like Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Planner, Microsoft Groups, Microsoft OneDrive, SharePoint, and this sort of thing is kind of just extra. And for the vast majority of small and mid-sized businesses that we see, there's not really a formal plan to train the employees on how to use those things. Well, those tools are there for a reason. Tools like Microsoft Planner, Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Groups, Microsoft SharePoint, these can be huge productivity boosting tools when the users know how to use them. So that's what we do today with Bigger Brains. We've got a library of about 180 courses. We cover the entire Microsoft 365 suite from an end user perspective. Now, we're not training for IT professionals. We leave that to the Plural sites and the LinkedIn Learnings of the world. We're very much focused on the typical user experience. So for a typical administrative or office worker who's been given access to Microsoft 365 by their organization, how can they be more productive with the tools that they have access to? How can they use Teams for what they need to do? Use OneDrive, use Groups, use Planner, use SharePoint, and all the other tools. Out of the 180 courses in the library, approximately 105 are Microsoft related, including all of the traditional desktop applications, Excel, Word, Outlook, and so on. And then we also have some additional soft skills courses, communications and sexual harassment and time management and that sort of thing. We've been very honored to win some awards, as you can see here on the screen. We've been named in the top 10 best content providers by the Craig Weiss Group. We've been named the best IT skills training by eLearning magazine. We made the training industry 2020 watch list for our online learning library. And our BrainBot app was a finalist for the Learning Technologies Awards just a few months ago. So we're very proud of that. One of the things that makes our courses different, because when we first got started, again, my background was in IT, we were going to build a platform for our IT consultants to use to deliver training. We had no intention of actually creating training. We thought, why reinvent the wheel? Lots of people out there make training. We'll just license training from another company. And what happened is in 2012, we had focus groups where we looked at training from a variety of different providers with the goal of picking the one the focus groups liked best, and or at least picking some finalists, and those would be the ones that I would negotiate with to load up on our new platform. And the feedback from the focus groups was overwhelmingly negative. They didn't like any of it. They felt like it was boring, it was hard to follow, it was too long, it wasn't relevant for their situations, and that was not uncommon for e-learning, especially back at that time. It's gotten somewhat better, but e-learning had a very deserved reputation for being boring and less desirable than classroom training because it's hard to stay engaged with. It's hard to watch 2.5 hours of training videos and actually be interested in what's happening and actually remember the things that you learn in those lessons. And so what we did is we took a unique approach. We did a lot of R&D into how people learn, how the brain processes new knowledge, and what makes classroom training more engaging than e-learning. And we created our own format, what we call the teacher-learner format, that seeks to bring some of those benefits of a classroom environment into a prepackaged e-learning format. And so what you'll see, and here we have screenshots of our training being accessed from inside our Microsoft Teams app. But once you open the course, each course is a set of video lessons, and every video lesson, almost every video lesson, features 2 people on camera. So we film everything in a TV studio, and we film everything in this conversational teacher-learner format. So you get those same benefits of being in a classroom environment where it's not just a one-way lecture over and over and over again, but you're watching somebody else learn alongside you. And the social aspects and the neurological aspects that come along with that are really beneficial in helping us stay engaged with the material and helping us retain that information long term. So all of the Bigger Brains courses are like this. You'll see in the picture there in the middle, you've got the teacher on the left who's explaining a concept to the learner on the right, and we'll alternate back and forth between that and of course pictures of the screenshot. In this case, they're learning Excel pivot tables, but they could be learning Microsoft OneDrive, Microsoft Teams, or any number of courses. We've been very fortunate that a lot of leading companies have chosen our content to deliver to their employees. These are some of our clients here. And we have a wide variety of testimonials as well that we're pretty pleased with. So we are always looking for new distribution opportunities, looking for new ways to get our training out to more people. And what we really liked about TBSC is this kind of mutual synergy between their goal of helping people use Microsoft 365 more efficiently and our goal of helping people use Microsoft 365 more efficiently in slightly different ways, but I think the two are very complementary. So we're very happy to make all of our Microsoft 365 and other training courses available now through TBSC. And Phil, I don't know if there's anything that you wanted me to cover that I didn't cover, but that's my prepackaged spiel.
Yeah, so I think that's a good overview. I was just going to say, Madison, is there any questions that are coming up?
Yes, I just have a few questions coming up in the chat. The first one is, thanks for sharing this information. As far as training, how do we access the courses?
Sure, so there's 2 possibilities. It depends on whether the end user environment already has a learning management system. If they do, then most often the learning and development department of the HR department would want us to deliver the courses in a format they can load into the existing learning management system. So most commonly in a corporate sales situation, we'll deliver the courses in SCORM format, which is the common format for learning management systems. We guarantee compatibility with any SCORM compliant learning management system. And we can also work with some that are not SCORM compliant using AICC or XAPI or some of the other standards. But also we have a new Microsoft Teams app. So for environments that are using Microsoft 365, that's oftentimes a lot more convenient because you can access the training directly inside Microsoft Teams. You can create a tab inside any channel or any chat where the tab is either a library of all of our courses, or just directed specifically to a specific course. Or you can also create a tab that's a report. So it'll show a report of all of one user's activity or a report of the entire team's activity. Those are only accessible to team administrators. But yeah, so the Microsoft Teams access has been extremely popular because it's super easy to do, and it's right there inside the same environment that most people are spending all day in anyway.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just seeing the questions pouring in. I didn't mean to cut you off like that. Thank you. I do have another question. It is, are we allowed to rewatch and relearn just in case we forget something after the lesson?
No, if you don't memorize it the first time, then you're out. No, of course. Yeah, no, all of our courses allow unlimited rewatch, so there's no problem there.
That's really good. And then I have another question, which is really popular today. The question is, do you have any clients in the legal sector?
We do, actually. Legal and insurance has been quite a popular sector for us for obvious reasons. It's mostly mid-size law firms, but we do quite a bit of those. And we do quite a bit through our resale partners as well. We have some partners that resell training specifically for the legal industry, and very often they'll package our Microsoft 365 training along with it. But same sort of situation here.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. I don't see any other questions coming in right now, but yes, feel free, please put your questions in the Q&A if you have any. If you're looking into contacting us after this, feel free to email us info@businesssoftwarecenter.com, and we can certainly get your questions answered afterwards as well. Yeah, I don't have anything else popping in. Phil, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Yeah, I think one of the things, Chip, that I found interesting was on your Teams distribution. There's a facility, isn't there, that just shows when people have completed modules within the courses. So as they go through the courses, you can see the people who've done the courses and what they've completed, which is interesting because that then enables our technology to look and see if it's had an effect on their usage of these applications.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our training gets used kind of in two different ways, right? Some people use it as sort of a reference library where they make it available to their people, and then people kind of pop in, and if they have a specific question, maybe about pivot tables or about how to share in OneDrive or something like that, then they can log in and everything is searchable. So they can search for exactly the topic they want and just take that one. But more often what we see is from a management perspective, people are either encouraged or required, depending on their employment situation, to take a certain course that suits their role or suits their environment. It may be part of their employee review process, maybe a quarterly review or annual review. Or we've seen some companies that treat it sort of like a company book club, where the entire company is taking a course, for one particular month and sharing thoughts and comments on it. That can be a great way to build a culture of learning inside the organization. I mean, that's, as an employer myself, that's kind of the ideal situation is if you have a team of people who are constantly wanting to improve their skills and upgrade their capabilities. I mean, what more could you ask for from an employer situation?
Yeah. Well, that's good. One of the other things that I found interesting is with your packages for, say, Office 365, it covers all of the major apps. There's multiple courses in there, so they're all lots of different modules. So it's very composite, a complete course. It's not just get one course for Teams, get one course for something else. You've got everything all in one package, haven't you?
What we have, and what we're doing more and more nowadays is it's important to have more than one course for each app because not every user has the same relationship with a given app. So for example, with Microsoft Teams, there's a lot of users who really just need the quick and dirty, show me how to use the basics of the tool. This is something new my company wants me to learn. I need to understand how it works, but I've got a job to do. I'm busy. Give me something quick that'll let me get up to speed. And so that's our Essentials courses. We have a course called Microsoft Teams Essentials that I believe with Teams is about an hour long. And that covers the basics of Teams, chat, communication, channels, meetings, and also some best practices. And then we have a course called Mastering Teams, which is more of a 3 or 4 hour course, if I remember. And that goes into all the details. A little bit more on the administrative side, but it shows some of the optional things like some of the third-party apps you can add with Microsoft Teams, how you can use Microsoft Teams as a phone system, how you can use Microsoft Teams for timekeeping, and those sorts of things. And then we also have a new series, which is Teams in 30 minutes. We have a core Teams in 30 minutes course, which is a really quick overview of just the basics, again, for that person who's really busy and just needs the basics to go through it. And then we have a series of topical courses. The first one that's out is Meeting in Microsoft Teams, or Microsoft Teams Meetings, which is a short course specifically about just meetings inside Microsoft Teams. So again, different companies use them in different ways, but if your goal is to let your people get more productive with the Microsoft Teams environment, then you want to pick the course that's right for them, or even pick the course series that's right for them. Because, for example, if they take the Teams in 30 minutes courses, and then they've done pretty well with that, they're looking to take the next step. Maybe the Microsoft Teams Meetings course is the next step. We have a new course coming soon on sharing files in Microsoft Teams. Maybe that's the next one after that, and so on and so forth. We're doing the same sort of thing with SharePoint, doing the same thing with Outlook Online, with OneDrive, to a lesser extent with Groups and Planner as well. So with all the tools in Microsoft 365, we want to make sure we have some training available for them. And then wherever possible, we want to have more tailored options for different usage situations.
One of the things that we have got a UK price list and everything so Madison will be able to make that available for all the attendees. But one of the useful things is the way that it's made available is organizations can take it for a month or for a year and for different numbers of users, so that it's almost like a sort of bundled package of training, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the licensing is very flexible. Again, different companies use it in different ways, and the licensing is also with some organizations, you're required to have a license for each employee, and that makes sense in some cases. With us, it's not necessarily always the case because, for example, the same employees who might take a basic course are not the same employees who might take an advanced course. And so there's some flexibility in that. You might be able to purchase fewer licenses and still let everybody participate, just not in the same courses.
Yeah. I think, Madison, you've got a special offer is it this week or this month where there's a chance for people to try it?
Yeah, I do have a special offer, but just before we get into that, I do have another question that just popped in. It says, not sure if we covered it. How is the training priced? Is it per user?
Yeah, so it's generally some variation of per user. There are a couple of unlimited user options, so if that's a big thing, we can look at it, but that's fairly rare. Most often it's per user per year. And then there's also per user per month pricing. And as I say, the per user pricing is also per course. So you may have, you might be able to purchase fewer licenses than you actually have users and still give everybody training. But it all depends on how you want to roll the courses out. But most often, per user per year.
Great. And then, yes, Phil, as far as the promotion, we do have a promotion for 1 month free using the coupon code all undercase TBSC. So if you're out there and you're interested in testing out this product, we can certainly get you using it with this free promotion. So you can contact us, info@Business Software Center, and we can set you up with that free trial. Yeah, I think that's it for today. We covered a lot. This was a really big talk. So what we can do is just take any follow-up questions later on. And of course, throughout the next few months, we'll certainly do more webinars to teach you a bit more about TBSC and Bigger Brains. Next month, we have a really good month for learning. It's going to be our Learning Month marketing focus. So please check us on social media using the hashtag CoffeeTalkTBSC. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll speak soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.